They all gathered at the bunker they started to create the year before, and only finished 2 months prior. It was full of food supplies, oxygen system, guns, and everything that would allow one person to live inside it for 2 months. Being 8 people there, Lael calculated that they could only live for about a week.
Hopefully, we won't have to stay here for that long.
Calm down, Sarah. You've got to be quiet.
We're safe as long as we're here. Don't worry.
Patroclus got interrupted as a missile exploded somewhere near the center, making the earth shake for a bit. Sarah was now crying, trying to hold her breath in screams as she covered her mouth with her hand.
What the fuck are you doing?
Miguel put his hands on his head. Edath and Nale remained calm, trying not to look nervous or scared, even though Lael could see they were shaking inside.
I've got no idea.
2 other missiles fell down the same area, but closer to them.
I might have a theory, actually.
Spit it out then.
Aruna was sitting on the floor, rocking herself as she muttered to herself, "Everything's going to be fine." Nale approached her, trying to assist her somehow. Lael cleared his throat.
I don't know why, but since my country has been monetizing prisoners' exportation here, illegally as shit, might I add, I'm guessing something went wrong, and now they have to cover up the existence of this island to prevent an international controversy, especially for the politicians who funded this operation.
As Lael finished speaking, another missile closer to them fell, making everything shake even more than the others before. The ones who were standing lost their balance for a second.
It's getting closer.
Do you think that might be the case?
I could definitely tell those airplanes were from our country. And they're newly upgraded models built specifically for war and who knows what else. And the fact that we're being bombed right now, I can assure you they don't give a fuck who's in here.
The only good thing about this is that they are wiping out the demons out of here, making our job a lot easier.
Basically, they want to wipe off the island. Is that it? And we're all screwed.
Another missile fell, this time right above them. The explosion was so hard and loud, everyone fell to the ground. Lael and everyone got deaf for about 10 seconds. He looked around. Fortunately, the bunker was created 13 feet underground, and the walls were constructed with reinforced concrete, which wouldn't be destroyed so easily. Aruna was sobbing with fear, and so was Sarah, Urien, and Patroclus. Miguel had shut his eyes, trying to stay calm, maintaining the same posture as before. Nale, Edath, and Lael were the only ones who didn't seem too affected, as they trusted the bunker's resistance, since it was created by them with Simon's expert knowledge. They were sure their house above was completely destroyed. Edath clenched her fists, thinking how much stuff was destroyed.
The only thing good about this is that they will probably exhaust all their weapons soon. So, we may not have to be here for much longer, enduring all this impact.
But if they even destroy our food resources, and so, I'm not sure how we will survive, Edath.
We'll manage to do something.
Lael hoped the outcome was as positive and as easy as she portrayed. 2 hours passed, and they had stopped listening to missiles falling and destroying everything.
Do you think it's over?
Probably. We'll wait another hour until we risk our asses outside there, though.
Everyone nodded in agreement. Edath tried to sound confident, but she didn't know what best to be done at those moments, and no one would seem to express that knowledge either. Another hour passed without any sound from outside, except of the airplanes flying away 40 minutes before. They all gazed at each other.
I guess it would be safe to go outside.
I'm not sure. There's probably many dust and carbon monoxide, and who knows if there aren't some stupid remnants over there. But we'll wait another hour, and then some of us will go outside to see the outcome.
They all nodded. even if they weren't sure if there were anyone left in there. Lael hoped they wouldn't come back, if they had even left at all. An hour passed without any vibration or sound coming from outside. Everyone was tired. Since their adrenaline ran off, Edath stood up.
Alright, Lael, Nale, and Miguel. Go put on some gas masks that are over there and gear up with what is needed to fight. I'll go with them. Patrol, you are responsible for Urien's, Sarah's, and Aruna's safety. Do you think you can handle this?
You know I can't fight, but...
That's why you'll be staying here. Even if you can fight or won't. I know you can make wise decisions. And you have a clear head, so I trust you.
Patroclus' eyes shined proudly, and he nodded. Edath joined the remaining crew as she dressed up in a battle vest they rearranged back then and put on a gas mask. And like the rest, she picked up a modified M16 rifle incorporated with a silencer and a small sharp knife. They have found some military weaponry in some of their rescuing missions, which could be used in that moment.
We're leaving. See you guys in a bit.
Edath waved to the ones who would be staying in the bunker and made her way up to the surface, followed by the rest of her team. As she opened the door, which fortunately didn't get too damaged, she looked outside, making sure there wasn't anyone in there. The overall dust from the explosions was already resting in the muggy soil, which was no longer green. The rain had stopped, and there was still a lot of fog, making it difficult to breathe. A big cloud, which resulted from the explosions, was covering the sun, making everything grayer. Edath crawled outside. She couldn't help but notice that their house and trees were all destroyed savagely. What bothered her more was the lack of the nature sounds she was so used to. She clicked her tongue, obviously upset.
Shit. Look at this.
Miguel whistled in agreement, and Nale was trying to test if the air was breathable, concluding that it still wasn't as he began to cough.
Stupid. We can't let our guard down. Let's look around to see if we can find people around here we might rescue or might kill.
They walked for about 15 minutes towards the center. They saw multiple corpses, broken house parts, fallen and burned trees, and lots of dust and blood. Destruction reigned above dreams. Edath halted and took cover by some rocks that were partly destroyed and signed to the others to do the same. Lael didn't see anything that looked like a threat, but waited for Edath's further directions. Edath gestured, explaining what she noticed. Everybody nodded, and Nale was the first to draw his rifle and point towards the direction she mentioned. Miguel took his back, covering the remaining area. Edath and Lael walked softly but quickly towards the place Edath saw movement, taking shelter for a few seconds whenever they had a chance. As they got nearer, Edath and Lael saw 3 men all covered in army uniform and vests, and also gas masks. They could see the resemblance from the ones used in Lael's country, which could prove the theory that some of the bombers were left behind to nail down the rest. The 3 men were looking at the ground. A few seconds later, 2 other men rescued a woman from the underground, a child and a man who were trembling with fear and coughing because of the dust and fog. The men discussed with each other, and right after one shook his head, the other one shot the family down. Lael gasped, trying not to make a sound. Edath's rage and bloodlust was tangible. She signed to Lael. "Shoot down. Me, right. You, left." He nodded and pointed his M16 after removing the safety, and at the silent count of 3, both of them shot those men down, aiming mostly at the nape area where they were most vulnerable. After a few minutes staying still, where Edath was covering the right area and Lael the left, she took a deep breath and looked at him.
This is no good. Retreat! I have a bad feeling.
Even though the main reason was just to explore the consequences of the attack and take away anyone who would pose a threat, Lael understood her concern. As they got back to Nale and Miguel, Edath gestured, explaining what she had just saw, being the main reason why they should retreat immediately. Everybody agreed and made their way back to the bunker. When they were almost there, Lael's heart dropped to the ground. 3 men from the army were teasing a despaired Patroclus, who was trying hard to kill them with a knife. In a quick movement, one of them, who seemed to be already bored, drew his gun and shot Petro down between the eyes.
Fucking sons of a...
Edath filled the three men with bullets, leaving one still barely breathing. Before Lael, Nale, or Miguel could do something, she dropped the gun and ran towards him with a knife, which she pressed in his throat. They ran towards her, with Miguel still checking on their back. Nale ran inside the bunker, preparing himself to fight. Unfortunately for him, he only found the corpse of Aruna, Urien, Sarah, and the military man, who was probably killed by one of them. Nale got enraged and began to punch the wall, making his knuckles sore and bleed underneath the gloves. Pain would make him feel better. He failed to do something, to protect anything. He overlooked, just like Edath and Lael and everyone, all the possibilities of their reckless decisions. He couldn't help but hate himself for dragging those people to their unfair death. Looking back, it seemed pretty obvious if someone were to try to find remnants of the destruction, they would go search underground, and Nale hated himself for not being smart enough to predict that possibility. He hoped that he was dead instead of Simon. He believed many things could have been avoided if he was still alive. Miguel joined him, worried about the time he was taking in there. When he saw the bodies, he gasped and gritted his teeth. He couldn't believe that massacre either. He clenched his fists and took multiple deep breaths.
You can die a painful death or a quick one. I'll let you choose, since I'm feeling fucking generous. All you have to do is to spill out why the fuck you are destroying our fucking island and leaving no fucking survivors.
Edath was sitting on the top of the remnant, preventing a possible escape. The man was moaning with pain on his right shoulder and leg, since Edath shot him in both spots. She pressed her finger where the shoulder's bullet was making him arcing with more pain. Lael was near them, looking around for any possible movements while hearing the conversation between Edath and the soldier. Lael thought he had seen the man before, back in their country.
Alright. We don't know many details, but what was told to us was that it was necessary to eliminate all threats that would link us to this island and the way of leaving here.
Who ordered you to do that? Why?
She pressed it harder, making more blood spurt from there.
Our boss! I heard that someone inside the Bureau of Investigation leaked information. And they had international investigations going on around them. It was a direct order from the president himself that all lives on this island should be eliminated in order to keep this secret safe, and a world controversy that would put us all in a bad position, making riots happen. Only the army, the bureau, and cops knew about the secret. I'm telling you everything I know, I swear. I didn't agree with his mission anyway, but I had to accomplish it.
The man was turning pale. Edath didn't have much more time before he passed out.
Whatever. The secret is our existing and our way of living, and also the fact that you guys are sending people out here illegally from your country. Is that right? Anything else we should know before I end your misery?
The man looked to the side and opened his mouth, only to cough some blood. Edath tilted her head. They heard an explosion around the place they found 5 soldiers who murdered a family. Lael pointed his gun to the direction he heard it from, and Edath followed his eyes, seeing flames and smoke rise. She then realized what was going on and looked at their bunker 16 feet away from them. Nale, followed by Miguel, was trying desperately to make his way out of the bunker's exit as he heard the explosion.
No! Miguel, get out of there!
Edath got interrupted by the sudden explosion from their bunker, throwing her and Lael to the ground with the impact and heat from the flames. Lael and Edath's ears popped and blood came out of them, making them temporarily deaf and unconscious.